Bing boing bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddy One Skip.
The Whittaker story seems to have brought out the worst in some people. Blows my. It actually has. I honestly agree with that. Even like the verbiage that I use, like that's I've never used that on YouTube before. And then I knew it got him mad, and I did it again because it benefited me. And how did it benefit me? They were upset.
So Susan says so. Welcome to my channel. And thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Toddy.
Not a problem. So you had spoken with me and you wanted to set the record straight about, well, let me ask you first this. Let me just ask you, how did you get into the Whittaker into the Whittaker verse? How did you get into this?
Well, originally, my sister and I used to watch when Mark would do his videos. And then I guess I was scrolling one day looking for something and I just came across it and I thought, oh my goodness, somebody new is there doing this. And it just, once you fell in, or once I fell in, I was in, and then I would like click around who's talking about what. And that's how I ended up on finding AD's YouTube channel.
Okay. So when you found AD's YouTube channel, go ahead and tell your story. So you found his channel and go ahead. So you wanted to support. What was your attitude with what was going on with the Whittakers? When did you come in? When they were helping, or when the family was already split up, or about what time did you come in looking this time?
I came into I'm trying to think. Eric was already into the picture, and so I guess it would have been right before he made his exit, because a lot of the videos I had to backtrack to catch up.
Okay. So they were still in good standing as far as you could see with the community. Everybody was still like focused on doing the right thing for the Whittakers at that point when you first started looking in on them this time.
Yes.
And then everything went to shit, basically, right?
Yeah.
And you had said that originally you were an Eric Carroll, for lack of a better word, we'll go with, to me, the only team has been Whittaker team, right? But I know that there's been an Eric camp and a Patrick camp. And originally you said to me that you believed Eric was, well, you say it. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, when all of this shit hit the fan, so to speak, and the entire thing like blew up, everybody was like, they were team this or team that, or, or team Whittaker. And I definitely was not team Whittaker. And I've been very public about that. I felt like I believed Eric in the beginning. I believed that he had the three removed from a bad situation, and I believed that he had their money and that he was going to get it legally given to them.
Right.
If that makes sense. I'm not sure how to articulate what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that he was doing the right thing by their money and putting it away for them so that they could get their money, in all fairness, the way it was supposed to be in the contract, more or less, is what you're saying. That you thought that he was going to follow what his words were by doing that.
Yes, and I thought, and I looked around at his stuff, and I thought, oh, he's got a picture with President Trump, and I'm big Trump supporter myself. And then as things started coming out, more and more things were coming out, and I got to know people. For instance, Brian. I got to know Brian when he started going down there, and things just, once Patrick got arrested, it's just like a light bulb went off in my head, and I said something's not right with this picture. So I think I sent you the date that I first contacted Patrick. And he was a bit standoffish with me, and rightfully so, because I had given him hell in comments, and I had not been very nice to Patrick.
Right.
And I said, look, I'm just reaching out to you because I can't remember the exact wording, but basically what I said to him was, I don't feel like you're getting a fair shake in this.
Right.
Something's not right in this to me. And
Right.
and I would like to say, which I have said, but I'd like to repeat it. I am in no way, shape, or form saying that Patrick is guilty or not guilty of anything. But having said that, I'd like to also say that I really don't care. I have come to like Patrick for Patrick. And whatever he's done or not done is, for me at this point in time, is not a factor.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I just want to be clear that I don't feel that way about, and I'm not talking about Patrick or Eric or anything. That stuff matters to me, but this isn't about that. And this isn't about, and just for transparency, obviously I'm not a Trump supporter. This isn't about that either. But I don't want people saying, Toddy, you didn't say anything. I don't have to say anything. She's entitled to be a Trump supporter. I don't agree with it, but this isn't what this is about. This is, you reached out to me. Let's just be clear about this. You reached out to me because from what you told me, and just correct me if I'm wrong, you were accused of giving money to a content creator, and we know which content creator. You can go ahead and say the content creator, because God forbid I say it. I'm accused of bullying, but you were accused of giving a content creator money to change a narrative. That's what you told me, that it was like, go ahead and just and say that. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't want to be accused of putting words in your mouth.
Okay, so let me kind of go back and give a little back story to this.
Okay.
So when I first came into the Whittaker sector, or whatever people are calling it, and I ended up finding AD's channel, and I got comfortable in that chat. I got to know people in that chat, right?
And the community, yep, absolutely.
That was back in I want to say maybe September, October, and I can't really say what it was that inspired me to start supporting him financially. I think it was just I felt sorry for the guy. So, and in saying that, I just want to try to get a timeline so people can understand. At the point in time that I started supporting AD, and I was doing this, it wasn't being done on the channel. I sent you receipts for all of that. I was sending him money through PayPal.
Yeah, I have the receipts for that, and I'll put them up if you'll let me put them up. I'll put them up.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, but I do want to ask one question, because I don't want people to think, were you ever paying AD to say anything about Eric? Because you said that you supported Eric at the beginning, and not Patrick, and AD supported Eric and then switched over at some point, which is fine because you're entitled to change your mind when things show up. But
Well,
my question is, you're being accused of paying him more or less to support Patrick. That's the allegation you told me that was being assumed. So my question is, when you were pro Eric and he was pro Eric, were you paying him to support Eric, or were you just supporting him because he was a content creator that you liked? Have you ever paid anybody to support Eric or Patrick or change the dialogue or the narrative or anything? Have you ever done that?
absolutely not.
Okay.
And if, as I told you, when we spoke, if I was going to run a publicity campaign for either Eric or the Whittakers, or for Patrick for that matter, I certainly would not choose a teeny tiny content creator that. So when I heard this, AD said this to his viewers after we had our falling out,
Which was
and
just recently. Yes.
just
Okay.
very recently, and I heard him say that. He said something to the effect of, "Oh no, she was only good with me when I was talking Patrick up, but as soon as I said something bad about Patrick, she doesn't like me anymore. She was just being good to me because I was talking Patrick up." Bullshit. I was supporting.
So his claim is, from what you're sharing, because I just want to be clear with the audience, his claim, from what you gathered, was that you only helped him financially because he was saying nice things about Patrick.
Yes, that is the narrative that he is spinning to his viewers now. But, and that's why I was trying to give you a timeline. When I first started watching AD's channel, I was not pro Patrick. I can't say that I was necessarily pro Eric. I just felt more inclined that Eric was doing the right thing at that point in time. And my supporting AD came from the fact, and I'm not trying to put anybody down here.
Mm-hmm.
There were two reasons that I did what I did in supporting him. Number one, I could afford to do it. Okay. And I want to stress that because I've had people contacting me about making donations. And, if you're on fixed incomes, you should not be feeling compelled to support anyone. I want to put that out there, first of all. So I did what I did because I could afford to do it. There's no loss to me. We're taught, or I was taught, to always try to help people that don't have what you have. So, and I felt sorry for him because here you have this guy that's sitting in this room. He never leaves that room. And from what I could see, and at one point he did even mention it, that he didn't even have bottom dentures. And I thought, man, this guy, he's having a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to put anybody down. So I want to make that very clear. I felt there was my heartstrings pull for this guy because I just felt sorry for him. Okay.
Right.
And I can't explain it beyond that. So I was sending him money, and I had even asked him, I don't want people to know that I have money. So please, when I send you, it's okay to say, oh, Susan hit me up, but don't, because he was putting the phone up and showing the amount. And I said, please don't do that. And then it progressed into him. I would see him. I started watching him more regular, and I was seeing him smoking marijuana. He was rolling his joints up on the camera. He was eating edibles. And I thought, oh, well, maybe he doesn't really need help. Maybe he does, maybe I've got this situation wrong. So I backed off for a couple of weeks and I didn't do any donations. And then I thought to myself, well, you don't know what's going on with people. You don't know why he's doing what he's doing. So I said, how can I do this? I was thinking to myself, instead of just like handing money directly to him, I thought of that old verse from the Bible about if you feed a man for the day, he's going to be hungry again tomorrow.
Yeah,
But
if you
if
teach a man to fish, right, that one.
then he can eat, long
Right.
term. So I thought, okay, what can I do? I could do memberships.
So let me
So
just tell you something, because I know that you've shared this with me. And when you shared it with me, it stuck with me. And I want people to understand this. So she didn't feel like she was really helping him per se by just giving him money per se. Like, and then she thought, well, wait a minute, maybe he still needs my help. So instead of just giving him money, she stopped and thought, well, how can I help him, but kind of like help him help himself? Right. So, and I think that that's important. I think it's really important that people realize that you actually took the time to say, well, he might not, because what you really said to me was he was spending it as fast as he was getting it. Was it really helping him? That was what you had said to me last night. It's the same story. But you thought it really wasn't helping him because you didn't think maybe he was saving the money. So, I mean, this is what you told me last night. Am I right or
yes,
am I wrong?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And
It,
then you had told me about the saying in the Bible. And so to think about taking the time to think about, well, he might not really be able to help himself because some people spend money. How can I help him in the long run? So that's when you came up with the subscriptions
yes, I
to his
decided
channel.
instead of giving him money directly through PayPal, which is the way I had been doing it, I thought to myself, okay, if I drops memberships, like gift memberships, then if he can hang on to these members, it will be like long term. It'll be more than just the money for that day. He
Right.
can keep getting it month after month if he
It'll
can
be
hang
like
on.
teaching somebody how to fish so that they could catch their
Exactly.
fish. Right. Right.
So that is why I changed to memberships from the direct donations. And then, so all through this process um, of going through this, and I want to stress this because I have never actually seen that. And I'm not picking on AD. Everybody's got a right to be however they want to be. Okay. Because midstream, I changed my opinion.
Right.
But with AD, I don't feel like AD was ever for anybody. I think he was what I call one of these people that sits on the fence, and whichever way the wind's blowing, he will go with that direction. Like whatever the mood of the chat room was that day, he would like go with the flow. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he ever had any loyalty to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I don't know honestly because I really only watched them for a short period of time, and then when we had that falling out, I haven't watched him since. But I understand what you're saying. You feel like
He was
he
never
kinda,
set in stone in any one opinion. Like you might see him today and he would be going pro Eric. And then you see him tomorrow and it was like, oh yeah, and he'd be talking good about Patrick. So, and the reason I bring that up is because I want to be very clear that I was not supporting him because he was supporting a specific narrative, because he never maintained a narrative, or he never stayed on the same team for more than 2 days. So for me to have been supporting him so that he would support a narrative, I would have been having to flip flop every other day, and I didn't do that.
Right.
So I just want to be very clear about that. That is not why I was supporting him. It reached a point that I know what happened, but I haven't talked to a certain person, so I don't know if I can discuss that. But it reached a point that he just become very, very negative and ugly about Patrick. He was like putting up thumbnails on a daily basis using Patrick's picture and just salacious like titles and stuff. And I tried to give grace to that because I said, this guy is sick, and I'm going based on what I had been told. I said,
And
this
when
guy,
you say sick, you mean phicically sick? You mean
yes.
physically sick? Okay, okay. Because I don't want people to assume you're
And I'm
talking
not saying that I've not seen his medical records. Nothing like that. I'm just going on what he has said in the chat. Okay.
Right, right.
So I tried to give grace to that. Okay, this guy's sick. He's not able to go out and earn a living right now. He's hustling. He's just hustling to get the clicks, to get the views, right?
Right.
And then at this point, I had actually become friends with Patrick. So we were talking regularly. And I want to insert this real quick. For all of these people that are thinking something, you're way off base. Patrick is young enough to be my son, okay? And I understand that some people date people younger, some people date people older. That is not the relationship that I have with Patrick. He has become a very good friend to me, and that's why I say that my opinion, I don't base my opinion of people on what they did to you or what they did to somebody else. I generally base my opinion of people on how they treat me. And all I can say about him, number one, I have made several attempts to help Patrick financially. And every time I offered to help him, he would say no. It'll be okay. Don't worry about it.
And just so you know, and I've said this before too, so I just want to chime in. I'm not Team Patrick, not Team Eric, not anything like that. But I just want to reiterate, Patrick has never asked me for a dime. He has never insinuated that he was going to share any money with me, because I've had the accusations too. Somebody actually had said something to the effect of, and there's screenshots of this, I'm sure it's been around, people have seen it, where somebody had asked me to show what Patrick offered me when I started talking to Patrick. Patrick never offered me anything. And if he watched me for any period of time, that would be the last thing he would have done, because that would raise a huge red flag for me, right? So I wouldn't have been that person, I don't think, anyway. But he never offered me anything. I never offered him anything. So I can reiterate that he never asked me for anything either. So go ahead, please.
So when he got out of jail, he was arrested on the Whittaker stuff. And I'm not going to rehash those charges because too many people have done that. If you know, you know, okay? But he got arrested, he made bond, and he came home. And it was like AD just started going after him. And I know the reason. You and I discussed this. I feel like I know the reason. But, Patrick is in a position right now. He cannot do interviews. He cannot talk. He can't do this, right? And
he shouldn't have done it, Susan. He shouldn't have done it at any point in it. And I told him that when he started talking to me. I said, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" So I'm really glad this time. And I'm not pro Patrick, but I think things should be fair. And I'm really glad this time he's taking advice to not say anything.
Yes, well, he's definitely listening to his attorney. And so I think some of this stems from people, they still want to have that contact and they want that information, something that they can, use. Well, he cannot do that. Patrick cannot. So he doesn't, he basically cut people off. If you can follow my, what I'm saying.
Right.
And I think some people had a hard time accepting that, almost like they became angry. But like I say, I continued to give AD grace because I thought, well, he's just hustling. He's trying to do what he's got to do because he's dependent on this money that he's making from YouTube. And, but like I said, at this point in time, Patrick and I had become good friends, and I just picked up I don't know if it was the tablet or the phone, but anyway, I logged in, and the first things that I hear, and I clipped that and put that on my own channel because I wanted people to see what I saw when I turned on my device, because it greatly upset me. AD was in his chair, flopping like a fish, rocking around, just all hyped up. Oh, Patrick's bond's been revoked. I think that might have been a loss of 15 grand, my man. And don't quote me word for word, but people that have seen it know what I'm talking about. And I thought that is just absolutely malicious. It was like he was happy.
Relishing in it.
Yes, relishing in somebody else's problem. But then you flip it back to me. Okay, I have become friends with Patrick. So having not talked to Patrick that day because I'd been out all day, and I come in and I see this and I'm like, holy shit, why would they have revoked his bond? Because I'm very familiar, having my own son. I'm familiar how it works, probation. Right. Bonds, that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, what did he do? Did he do something? What did he do? In my heart, your mind just goes 100 different directions. Right. So I turn off the live stream and I immediately start trying to contact Patrick. And I'm like, Patrick, AD's saying that they revoked your bond. Are you okay? And he texts back and he said, yeah, I'm okay. And then I got mad. And I'm like, oh, okay. So if you're answering me, you're not in jail, which means you have not had your bond revoked. And it just really pissed me off, Toddy, because I can see hustling and clickbaiting and doing what you got to do, but there's no regard. And I know some people may not understand this, and people that hate Patrick, but Patrick has people that care about him, and I'm not just saying me. I mean, he has a mother, he has a sister, he has family members. Now, can you imagine if you couldn't get in touch with him and you're seeing somebody do this on a podcast? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I was pissed, and I sat on it. Actually, I quit going to AD's chat and I sat on it for a couple of days before I made my little short video. And
so yeah, I just want to understand something, because I don't want to come across as hypocritical or anything like that, and I don't want to drag another content creator into it, but I do, in all fairness, have to say that, Kathy, Curious Deep Soul, who I'm friendly with, as we know. So, I mean, that as well. But she put up a video about Patrick's revocation, not saying he's in jail, but saying that because the word revocation came in there. And so that's true. The word revocation was on that the docket thing. But I don't see the relishing, nor was Patrick ever on her channel. So
she didn't have a relationship with Patrick.
He did not have a relationship. So it's because I want to be fair. I don't want people to say, well, what about Kathy from the other channel?
Okay, number one, let me point out with Kathy, Patrick has never been on Kathy's He's never been on her panel. She has no kind of relationship with him, like personal relationship.
That's correct.
Okay. And second of all, and I went back and watched Kathy's video. Kathy reported
Exactly.
about the fact that he had a probation revocation hearing, okay, which was on a previous charge that has nothing to do with his current bond or his current charges. I think it's more with the way. I don't have a problem with it being reported, and I guess I'm not articulating my thoughts very
No,
well.
I understand what you're saying. I do. I understand. But
I
here's
think
where
for me, it was the way that AD presented it. He wasn't just saying, "Oh, okay, we got news." It was like he
Right.
was hyped up. He was happy about it.
Right.
And
Right.
even the following day, he well, actually that day, he's like scrolling through and he's doing all of this pulling up the stuff, and oh well, there's the problem there. He hadn't paid his probation. He owes such and such amount. So you know me being me, I immediately reach out to Patrick and I'm like, look, has this been paid? And he said, nope. And I said, it's got to be paid, Patrick. You know, what is the problem? Do you not have the money? What's going on? And I'm like, you get me a number and I will call and pay this tomorrow. Because it was nighttime. And I said, this has got to be paid. I said, if you stay in good standing with your probation officer, then the likelihood of getting violated, which means for people that are not in the know, to be violated means they
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's okay. To be violated on probation means that they can pull your probation time and you're going to sit your ass in jail until you have completed that time. And so I told him, I said, this has got to be paid. And he was like, well, they can't arrest you for not paying your fine. And I said, yes, they can. You know, this has got to be paid. And so the following day, I waited all day long, Toddy, for him to call me because he said, well, let me, that night when I talked to him, he said, well, let me look into it and I'll get back to you. So I waited all day long for him to get in touch with me because I'm sitting here on ready with my debit card. I was going to pay it and I was going to pay every penny of it.
Oh, I heard that you paid it. Wait a minute. Okay. So I just want to tell you, because I put out a video. I had somebody tell me that you paid it. So I put out a video that I said, I heard Susan says so, paid it. So I put out that video. Did you see that video?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to say that I put that out there and somebody had told me that you paid it. So you didn't pay it.
I
'Cause
didn't
I wanna just
actually.
get it straight.
Yeah, I didn't actually pay, but I offered to pay.
Okay,
And
so
as
okay, so I understand where that could have come through. Maybe you had told somebody and it was paid and they assumed it. But so okay, all right. I just want to, because usually I
yeah,
get really good information, so I can understand where somebody might have gotten that. Somebody might have gotten that wrong. And I
yeah,
just want to go
and
back. I just want to go back to something you said, because people will jab it. They're gonna pin shit. Okay, so I just want to go back. So you made a comment that said, and you know me, Toddy. Let's be clear so that the audience knows. You and I only started talking yesterday, about 24 hours ago. Is that true?
that's absolutely correct.
Okay. So I only know from what you've told me in the last 24 hours. I don't want people to think that we've been affiliated before, because that would not be true. That would 1000% on my life, on my pet's life, would not be true.
No, it
So,
wouldn't be true because if anybody's kept up with my channel or my post, I have not been very kind to you. And if you would allow me, I'd like to apologize for that. When I did the GoFundMe for Patrick, you made a video and I lashed back. I had nothing. I didn't know anything to lash back at you with except for your sexuality. And I would like to clear the air about that now, because I don't have a problem with homosexuals or lesbians or anything like that. You know, I have a cousin, his daughter is married to a woman. My best friends here in Jacksonville, Florida, have been together for 20 years.
Right.
And I went to high school with Jeff. That's my friend. And
Right.
we've been friends forever. So I don't have a problem with that. But it's, unfortunately, it's human nature, or at least it's my nature. When somebody strikes at me, I strike back. So
Let
definitely,
me
you
be
and
clear.
we have not been connected
Right.
or involved. And like I say, if anybody looks at the channel,
Right.
they can
So,
see.
yeah. So I just want to be clear about something. I don't have any problems with people striking back once or twice. I have a problem with people going at it for 3 months nonstop. I have a problem with people just going at it. I don't have a problem. I'm gay. I've heard this shit before. You know what I'm saying? If I've got a problem with that, I'm living in some make believe world, because that is when people don't like you, that's what they go for. So I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with opposition as far as a difference of opinion. I'm not okay with being attacked over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I don't have a problem with people that say, I don't like Toddy One Skip, or she, there's certain things I wouldn't say, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't have a problem with that. So I saw what you showed me, because to be honest with you, I didn't, and I'm going to use that cockadoodle do, by the way, the cockadoodle do thing. And
Oh, good. I
yeah,
think it portrayed you. I
I
think you
love
look
it.
good in it.
I love it. So I am going to use it. But so, and another thing, because I had people, say to me, how could you even, because when I reached out to say, hey, listen, I'll talk to you, let me talk to you. So, people said, hey, Toddy, why would you do that? This woman has done this, and this. Yeah, I know that she's done this, and this, but there's also information here. And this has always been a channel for people to come on and speak and give their side of the story. I'm not going to stop that with my channel. We don't always have to agree on everything. There's a few things we clearly don't agree on, but I want you to be able to tell your story without any interruption, and at least get your narrative out there and let people decide what's the truth. And everybody is entitled to that. Everybody's entitled to that. So that's why we're here today. And, you and I were on the phone last night for quite a lot of time, and we ended up laughing about stuff. We didn't talk politics. And most of the time, to be honest, we really weren't talking Whittaker stuff, you know? So um, we laughed about quite a few things. You're always going to find something that you can have a common ground with if you try with people, and being unfair and having somebody put a narrative out there that's unfair about anybody is not okay. And your main goal was saying, hey, listen, there's a narrative going around here, and that's not fair. I helped this man because I felt it in my heart to help this man, and now he's turning it around and using it as a weapon against me, and that's not okay. Is that fair
No,
to say that that's the thing that you came to me about, and that is that fair to say that that's the story, that not a
yes,
story that you're
that
making up,
is,
but the narrative? Go ahead.
that's very fair to say, because I want to make sure, and I want to be very clear about this also. I am not saying, and I have never said, oh, AD used me. He took money off of me. I want to be very, very clear about this. AD never asked me for anything. I gave because I felt in my heart the need, to help somebody else.
Right.
So I don't want people running around saying, "Oh, she's mad. He wouldn't talk to her or whatever." People, to
And in
me,
all fairness, you're letting people know that AD did not ask you for anything. And that's fair, because that's a good one for him, right? Uh, People shouldn't think that he was asking you for anything if he didn't ask you for anything. I don't want that narrative either. As much as I can't stand the man, I don't want the wrong narrative about him either. I think he's guilty enough for shit. I don't want to throw more stuff on him. So he never asked you for
well,
anything.
no, he did not. And I wanted to make that very clear because there seems to be this thing with women, or men could be doing it too. I don't know, but it seems more so with women. They want to help people, and then because they have some kind of hidden agenda, and when it's not met, then they want to retaliate. But I just wanted to be very clear that is not the situation here. And I did not, um, the reason that I stopped supporting AD and I stopped watching his channel is because I finally saw, um, that there is a very vile, malicious person. Um, and I saw that way back when I first went to his channel. Let me just touch on this just a minute.
Sure.
When I first started going to his channel, there was a lady, and I can't remember her name. She came in and she said something, and he just attacked her. And he went on to say, "I don't care. If you gave $100 to help me bury my mother, so what? So what?" And he was just really, really nasty to her. And I overlooked that because I thought, okay, maybe something's going on between him and this woman that's. But as time has evolved, I've seen that this seems to be a pattern. Like he will have somebody on his platform, and after they're on his platform, then he attacks them. And I was just really shocked. One day I was in the chat, and he has Justin on the panel after he has dogged this man from hell to kingdom come. I mean, just really drug this man. And then all of a sudden, he puts him up on the panel. It's like there is, to me, and it's just my perspective. Let me make that very clear. But in my opinion, and from what I'm seeing, looking, from the outside in, he doesn't give a shit about anybody but how he's going to get those clicks and views.
Yeah, I
And
want to jump in here if you'll let me, because
okay,
here I feel something very strongly. So because this is where everything fell apart. This is where I started getting attacked. This is exactly where. So Justin went on AD's channel and had a confrontation real quick with Patrick. And then there was a rage quit where actually it wasn't, because AD shut Justin down. Okay. So then he started dogging Justin. But then another content creator had Justin on his channel. In the meantime, I had already had Justin on my channel. I was getting hate from people. You know what I'm saying? And so then he has him on, and he rage quits the guy, as far as like he hangs up on the guy. Another content creator invites Justin on to her channel to give him an opportunity to speak, because he never got the opportunity to speak on AD's channel. And then she gets beaten up for that, for the same thing that AD tried to do, except that she gave him a chance to speak. And then after dogging him, like you said, he has the nerve to have him back on the channel. And people forget that that's where all of this started from. All of
exactly,
the whole falling out started because of, they're saying, Justin, anybody can have anybody on their channel. If you don't like it, don't watch. I mean, just don't watch it. But after everything that the other content creator and myself went through, talk about double standards and hypocrisy, he turns around and has Justin on the channel. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't watch it. I heard about that. And then I heard as soon as Justin got off the channel, he dogged Justin. As soon as he got off the channel that night, didn't even wait till the next day.
Well, I think Justin was still in the chat when he was dogging him. But just prior to that, Justin had been, it seemed like he was struggling to do his videos. He couldn't figure out how to get them on YouTube. Yeah. And I heard AD say because he plays everybody's videos. He played one of them and he was like, my man, looks like you're having trouble there. You know, I can help you out on that. He's talking to Justin.
Right.
Just out, out in the air as he's playing his video. And he's like, I can help you out on that, but my time's not free. I think the only reason that he circled back around and was willing to deal with Justin is because he thought there was something in it for him. He was going to get something out of it. But to me, to spend all these months saying, how dare Toddy, how dare Kathy put him up? Why would anybody platform this guy? Everybody knows, he's this, he's that. Then why in the hell did you turn around and put him back on your platform? If he was all of these things and, you're going to knock everybody else for platforming this guy, it's just hypocritical.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion.
Right. And well, in my opinion too. And if you looked up the word hypocritical, that's exactly what it is. So let me just, because there's something we missed here and I want people to get it. So you went from basically believing Eric to not having compassion or sympathy or empathy for Patrick. When did that happen? When did you reach out to Patrick, or when did you start saying, oh my gosh, maybe I got Patrick wrong, or I don't care, I care? When was that? When did that happen, Susan?
Okay, that was, I sent you a copy of the text when I reached out to him. But what led me to that was I had conversations. I ended up in a conversation with Brian Cody just before Thanksgiving because AD had attacked him. Brian had been on AD's panel, and then somebody sent AD a picture or something of Brian, and AD attacked him. He didn't reach out to Brian and say, what the hell was going on, or, and I found offense with that. And of course,
and you found offense with that. I know I keep interrupting you, but you've also asked me to kind of like help you with this. And you found, because here's the thing, I want people to see it's the same pattern with you to show who you are. You found offense with that because he was on Brian was on his channel before, and you felt like he owed him that. Am I correct? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I just want people, they're going to form an opinion about you. So at least if they form the opinion, it should be as fair as possible.
Yes. So I actually was so upset about that because Brian had been on AD's panel and Brian got nothing out of that. You know what I'm saying? He got no compensation. It wasn't promoting his own channel. It was a favor, he was helping AD just like Patrick had been helping AD by going on his panel. So first of all, I sent AD a scathing email, and I said, this is not acceptable behavior. This is just wrong. And I said, it would be different if you didn't know Brian, but you know him. So why didn't you reach out to him first? or ask him, hey, dude, somebody sent me this picture that you've sent somebody. Can you come back on my panel and let's talk about this? AD didn't do that. He just immediately went on the attack, and I felt like it was wrong. And I can't remember the exact date, but I posted that. I did like a little post about it. I know I put it on Facebook, but that led to Brian and I getting to, actually talking. And we talked a couple nights before Thanksgiving.
So you feel sorry for people, as the pattern is like you do have, when you feel like somebody's been treated wrong out of at least a loyalty standpoint, that's something that strikes a nerve with you. That's a pattern of you have a loyalty, and that's something that strikes you. Am I right in saying that?
Well, yes, I don't feel like, and at that point in time, Brian and I were not like good buddies or anything. It just pissed me off because I felt like he was getting attacked. It was a one-sided conversation, if you know what I'm saying, and he wasn't given an opportunity to speak and defend himself. And I feel like that the same way with Patrick. I feel like he's not getting a fair deal in all this. And I don't want to go into the legalities and the charges and all that mess.
You don't get into that because, I don't want you to get into that.
Everybody deserves to defend them, to be able to defend themselves. And yeah, it just struck a nerve with me when he attacked Brian like he did. And so Brian and I end up on the phone together. Well, not on the phone, we were FaceTiming, and it was like a 2.5 hour conversation, and it led into the wee hours of the night. And to be honest with you, Toddy, at some point in the conversation, I just kind of tuned out. It become like blah, 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 blah. I wasn't really listening. And then, so after that, enters the picture of, what's his name? Big Ugly. He comes in and he's saying all this stuff. And, you guys just don't know, Eric did this, Eric did that. And I'm like arguing with him, telling him that he's crazy. And it's just like one day it just clicked with me. And I'm like, hold on a minute. I've heard this somewhere. So I backtracked and had to find that conversation, re-listen to the whole 2.5 hours that I had with Brian. And he says in there, and I'm like, oh, no. There's something dirty in this. And that is when I decided that Patrick, in my opinion, was not getting a fair shake.
Right. And you shared that with me. And we're not going to get into that because nobody's trying to mess things up for somebody who is right now under investigation. And that's fair.
Yes.
That's fair. But what she's saying, and let me articulate it a little bit better so people understand, because we had this conversation last night. Brian Cody said something that Susan feels let slip out, but it stuck in her head because Big Ugly said the same thing later. And it was something that appears to be in Patrick's favor as far as the charges go. Let's say it like that, okay? And you looked into, am I right or am I wrong? You looked into it and said, wait a minute, they're both saying the same thing, different times. There might be something to this. Maybe Patrick's not getting a fair shake here. It looks dirty to me. It is right?
Exactly. That's exactly.
Okay.
And I don't, I don't think people that are sitting at home and this is their pastime, they have nothing else in their life but to sit and watch the internet or YouTube or Facebook. I think people forget that this is somebody's real life, and this could be prison. And I don't want to see anybody go to prison that doesn't deserve to be there.
And I agree. I agree with you 1,000,000%. I agree with you. Yes. Yes, we share that. No matter who it is. I absolutely share that with you. Nobody needs to go for something for any reason that they didn't do anything. Absolutely, I agree.
And I want to say too, you said something about the having difference of opinions. You know, we're all entitled to have our opinion. This is a conversation that my sister and I have pretty frequently, because she's one of these people. If you don't have the same opinion as her, she thinks that that means she's supposed to argue with you until she can convert you. And
Mhm.
sadly, I think a lot of people have that train of thought. And in reality, if we all shared the same opinions, life would be pretty dull. So I think it's important that people see things from different points of view, and to, okay, I might snap back at you, or you and I might argue, but to continuously attack someone over and over, or send your that reminds me of like back in high school. If you pissed the popular girl off, all of her little minions would come around after you, you know. And I went through that in school, and that is nothing but pure bullying. And it's, you know, we're adults, we should be beyond that. And you said something about a post that I had made one time about that I didn't run with the pack because I like to lead. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't even realize that Patrick had that on his Facebook page, something similar. But mine
Alpha
came,
males don't need to run with a pack is what
yes,
I think you're at. Yeah. Mhm.
and I didn't even realize that that was on his thing. But my thing of that came from years ago. I worked at a nursing facility, and there was some really bad things going on there, and the administration chose, they didn't want to address the issues. Let me just put it that way without going into anything. So outside of work, and I could say it now, I don't care to say it, but I was the ringleader. You know, I was like gathering the troops. You know, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. So I was organizing people to contact the state, because we couldn't get anywhere through the administration itself. So the administrator finds out, I don't know how he found out, but he found out that I was hanging out with one of the nursing assistants or something. And he calls me into the office one day, and I get this, you know how, like, if your father sits you down and he's pointing his finger at you, and he said, Susan, I'm speechless. He said, I cannot believe that you are running with this pack of dogs. And I said, sir, I beg to differ. I'm leading the pack of dogs. And his mouth almost hit the floor. And the
Mhm.
state came in, and they did what they needed to do. And the people that needed to be removed from that facility were removed, and the state monitored. There were some, you know, sanctions put in place. But no, I'm not a sheep. I don't tend to follow. And I see that a lot on here. People, oh, well, you know, for example, I like Susan. So whatever Susan says, or who she doesn't like, or who she likes, I'm going to be for that person. You know, people need to stop being ignorant. And I'm guilty of that too, to a certain degree, of just like I didn't like you. And like you said, we ended up laughing on the phone and having more things in common. I think sometimes we make judgments on people that we're not really qualified to be making. If that makes sense,
No,
what
I
I'm saying.
no, I agree. And I've been a target of these sheep. I've been a target of these sheep, but somebody's sending them on me. And I've seen that. You know, I mean, they've said it out loud on their streams and stuff, and I've seen that. I've never ever told somebody to go after anybody, and I would challenge somebody to show me where I did that. But there's people that you can show them, you could show them black and white, and they will tell you there's a rainbow in there because they don't want to see, you
Well,
know, and those
let me
people are
give a
not
little message for the sheep out there, because I've got news for those the little sheep. You think that you're getting, you being loyal, you're going out and you're being the trolls or the little demons for whoever that you're supporting. Look back how much money, and I'm not saying that I'm entitled to anything for that, so don't mistake me, but how good I was to a person and how many hundreds of memberships that I dropped into that channel trying to help that person. And on day one, when I opposed his opinion, I was hell in a handbasket. I was a cunt. I was a bitch. I don't even know the things that he said about me, and I'm sure there's been a lot more said that have been said, like in the Discord. I never went to the Discord. I just don't get into that kind of stuff. And my point being is that just because you're the flavor of the day, one, you cross that person, they have no loyalty to you or to anybody else. Now, do I think that the person probably regrets it? He may not regret it today, but I can guarantee you when that next YouTube paycheck comes in and it's not a tenth of what it was last month, he might regret losing the money. Probably will never regret, that I was offended or that my feelings got hurt. Because
right.
people with personalities like that are out for themselves. And these sheep make one mistake and they will turn the damn herd on you too. So
Right.
nobody's safe with that.
Right. So you and I talked about something. I just want to get this out there as well. You and I talked about, the video that I put up about defending myself this morning and having the name of a content creator that has come after me for months, and I've shown affiliation to the people that she's had attack me, and we've heard it. I'm going to get my big guns. I'm going to do this. And then I show screenshots of where there is that connection. So now I've been accused of threatening an elderly woman. I put out a video that at the very least, or the very most, the very most said, my threat was, I'm going to tell your mom or your family how you behave. And the reason why was because the behaviors from her were things that she would say to the to her panel or to her community, that she never did this, she never did that. But then behind the scenes, you see it. Absolutely so. And now there's a claim that this person has left the area to go protect their mom for absolutely no reason, because I never claimed to go after anybody's mom or any kind of threat in any way, shape, or form. Yet there has been blatant threats for me to the point that I've moved out of where I live and I'm not even there. So, and then you and I were talking, and I said, this person supposedly at the airport, I challenged that. Why didn't you show the airport? The sound effects, from my understanding, people were sending me stuff. The sound effects didn't work very well. But also that person claimed that they weren't the person that was found online.
Well,
So
first,
I asked you, then why are they going to protect their mom if that's the wrong person? And you
well,
said, busted out laughing and said you didn't even think about that. So all of the people that haven't thought about that, think about that. Why would somebody claim that their family's in danger per se for a video that anybody could look at and see that's not the case? But if it's the wrong person,
Why would you be running?
where are you going? Like, if it's the wrong person, where are you going? Right?
Well, let me
And
let me explain this. It is the right person. I don't care how many times she says it's not. And is it, if it's okay, you and I can discuss this, how we came to this. You had posted a video and I shared it on my Facebook page and put something to the effect of, "Oh, Toddy's on fire today." And then I find a comment which I sent to you, and you put it in your little video.
it was not the video that I put out today. It was just a video about Patrick or whatever. It wasn't even about anybody, as far as I know. I mean, I don't know which video you're talking about that had that comment go through.
It was a video about AD, but you get notifications. So I got a notification and I thought, okay, so why would somebody be commenting on that? So I looked and I had this comment and I'm thinking, I don't know this person. Who is normally normal or whatever.
Right.
And so I had screenshotted that and I shared it with you. And then last night, you and I go digging deep, 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 deep down into this hole. And we ended up with family pictures with, this is the person. And if this was not the person, why the hell is she at the pretend airport trying to go take her mother to protect her from this imaginary threat that you never made? If it wasn't her, why the reaction? The reaction would have been, big deal. They've got the wrong person,
Mm-hmm.
Why would you run and protect your mom if the address that I have for you is not the correct address? It's not necessary.
Well, I don't have an address per se, and certainly nothing that I would put up online. So yeah. But also you said today that you were in her comments, right?
In her comments or in her chat?
Well, I guess her chat, I'm sorry, the live stream chat. You said that you were in there and you were in there typing. What was the name what screen name were you typing under?
Oh, no, honey. I wasn't in her chat typing. I went to AD's chat to see what malicious or mischief he was up to today. And she normal, it's a weird name. It just doesn't roll off my tongue good. Was in his chat saying, "I'm the person in Toddy's video and it wasn't me." I mean, it wasn't who she thinks it is. It was me. That I can tell you from months and months and months, that person, I have never seen them in that chat. So why? The thing is if you don't want people to know who you are and you want to maintain anonymity, don't go with your personal Facebook page onto, especially somebody like me that has nothing but time to kill, and make a comment. And when I asked, what do you mean by that? I shared the
Right.
with you.
We're talking about two different things, just so you know. That's not what I was talking about. Because what you had told me was that you were normally normal in her chat today, while she was saying, "See, I can't be this person because I'm here." So did I misunderstand that or something?
No, normally normal was in AD's chat.
Okay.
Saying, yeah, that wasn't me. That was she. I peeked into AD's live stream today, and normally normal was in his chat saying, "Toddy's accusing me of being
Lady
That
K.
content, yeah.
Right, right, right. Okay, okay. I
I'm
misunderstood.
sorry, but they're the same person.
Oh, no, I know. But see, supposedly and while she was going live today at the fake airport, I mean, if you're at an airport, why aren't you just showing the airport? I mean, like, but whatever. I'm not buying it because there was never any threat towards anybody's family. I would never do that. But yeah, I don't have a problem putting something on Facebook so that their family can know how they behave. I mean, if you're going to be all puffy and stuff like that, then
Well,
be a
I
then do it proudly. I mean, you want to get your big guns on people, then you know why are you ashamed of that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because it's a bad look. It's not right. It's a bad look, and nobody's really going to co-sign that except the sheep that you have. Apparently, your family might not like that behavior. So, I mean, that's what my threat was, as you know. But I had thought. So anyway, so somebody I guess was in her chat as normally normal. So she was saying, see, that's not me because normally normal's in my chat. Like people are so ignorant or stupid not to figure out that that's an easy thing to do. You know what I'm
Toddy,
saying?
I have multiple phones and I can hook everything to run through the Wi-Fi. I can bring 7 or 8 different people into your chat room. So that's if people are that ignorant about devices and how to use, then you could be on a computer running a chat group and have your phone in the other hand typing
And
as
have
somebody
a
in the
burner
chat.
and,
Yeah.
and have a burner account and do that, of course. And everybody knows that, except people that just don't want to see it. But I had misunderstood, so I apologize because
No, that's fine.
I thought that was you in her comments. So I
Well,
misunderstood that.
once we figured out who this person was that was commenting on my Facebook page, I went over last night, or I guess during the night, because I didn't go to sleep till about 7 or 8 this morning. But I went over and listened to one of her live streams, and somebody was saying something about a content creator named Dolly, something about this Guthrie investigation. And Lady K said to her, well, I really don't like to talk bad about other content creators. And I thought, well, that's really weird. Why would you be so wholesome and such a good moral person in your chat room, but it's okay to go in under your Facebook page and come to my page, somebody that you really don't know, and make comments like you made? So apparently she's putting on one image for her sheep, but she's going out here under different identities. And you know what? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, because I saw it. It's her sheep they don't want to see it. You know what I mean? They don't want to see it. You saw the video I put up. It looked pretty clear to me. You see the affiliation, it's right there in black and white. But she is, well, the weird thing again is that she's convinced people that she didn't do anything and that that's not her, but she's at an airport running to her mom to protect her mom, which again doesn't make any sense. But there's people that they don't want to see what they don't want to see. You know what I mean? They just
Well,
don't. They
they're
don't, and
just,
there's nothing I could do
that's
about that.
insanity, because if, let's just say if, which it's not, but if we went down that rabbit hole and came up to the wrong person, just if we got the wrong person, why the hell is she running to the airport? The fact that she made a video pretending to be at an airport, running to save her mother, is her admission that we got the right person.
Well, also, I showed you something earlier that somebody had sent me. Let me just put it up here because somebody had sent this to me and I just want to show it. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. This is what I want to show. I just want to get rid of the person's file underneath that would show their photos, and because I don't want to get in anybody into trouble that's nice enough to send me things. So this I showed you, and it shows somebody's name on here. But when you click on that, okay, when you click on that name, all right, it goes to that person's Facebook channel, the same person that's saying it's not her. And this is on the Whittaker member thing. And somebody sent that to me. So if you went on the Whittaker member thing and you clicked on that person's name, it will take you to normally normal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, that's
I might, because I'm not monetized, so
mm-hmm.
it's not important to me, and I will you can put that out there and let everybody know. You take my channel down, you take my page down, it's no big deal, you know. But I'm very tempted to just do a video like with the screen recording of how I got from point A to the end of the rabbit hole of the identity, the family pictures, everything. Because
Right.
I have no problem putting that out there. And I
Okay,
know
so-
you told me don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm that
Let
kind
me-
of crazy person that would do it.
Let me just tell you why I wouldn't do that. Because I can't stand this person. I mean, this person has effed me over for no reason except for the fact that I stood up for another person the same way I stood up for her. I mean, that's all that happened. I stood up for another content creator the same exact way I stood up for her when Watson Family Channel came after her. So it was fine for me standing up for her, but it wasn't fine for me standing up for somebody else. See, to me, I'm not so much loyal to the person as much as I'm loyal to the situation. And just don't be fair. I mean, just if you're not going to be fair, I'm going to have a problem with that. So just don't not be fair. Be fair. So that was what happened there. But the problem with doing that is not only because it's against the law to go ahead and do that, but there's people that can take it one step further. And you don't want to be, I'm not going to tell you, but I wouldn't want to be responsible for that. And I'm not sure that you would want to be responsible for that either. You know what I'm saying? Like her family and things like that, nobody should go after, first of all, nobody should go after anybody. But it's well beyond that here. I mean, it's well beyond that here. But I don't think that to just go and give away her identity, I don't think that's going to serve purpose for you or her, to be honest with you. I just don't think. I think it's more important just to prove that she is who she is, and I feel like we did that. But to go ahead and put everything out there with a last name and all of that, you know, that's
Well,
nothing.
I understand, and it wouldn't be good to do the last name and such. But to take someone, what I was saying was to take someone from, you know, a video screening of me clicking. I went from the comment on my page from somebody that I have never spoken to, didn't know this person. So I'm like, who is this? And I went from that to this to a black and white picture. And when I clicked on that, I get comments from family members and something about little sister, and bam, what do you know? There we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. I was there when it happened, because we were doing that together. We were trying to figure things out together. So, I mean, that's exactly what happened. You went from her comment on your Facebook page to finding this other Facebook page, to finding a picture, to clicking on that picture, to finding that person's Facebook page name, clicked on it, and then that revealed that person's name. That's what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, I think people know how that works.
But there's always going to be people that think whatever. So
Right,
it's pointless for me to try to change somebody's,
right,
the sheep are always going to be sheep because they enjoy being sheep.
right.
Some
And
people
half
are,
of these people, as you know, and as you said, are themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're their own trolls for their own channel. Just like
yeah,
you said, some people have 4 different burner accounts or 8 different burner accounts and such like that. You know, so, some of these people are legitimate, some of these people are not legitimate. And again, some people that just don't want to know any better aren't going to know any better. And that's kind of that's mute to do that. But to get yourself in trouble isn't worth it. That's my opinion. I mean, you could do what you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I don't think you're gonna I don't think you're gonna make anybody see anything. I think you'll end up getting in trouble before you make anybody see anything. And I know that you don't care about, your monetization and stuff, but you don't need charges brought on you for doing something like that. That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But you do what you want. I mean, I can help you with that video, but I would definitely scratch out that person's last name, because that would be, doxing.
well, maybe we can do it in a way where we don't reveal the name, but allow people to see how we got from point A to point B.
Right, right.
And then again, as I'm thinking about it again, Toddy, I think just the fact that she's pretending that she's having to run to the airport, that to me, we got it right. We know we got it right.
Right, right, right. No, I know. I have no doubt. But back to because I don't want it to be about me, but I just wanted to be clear about that, because that was something between me and you, and I also felt a responsibility to say how we got there. And I don't want you to take something on your own. I want to be transparent with my people, because I never want to be caught in a lie. I never want anybody to doubt something I said. So yes, I was part of looking up what was going on here for my own protection, so that I could have the name of somebody, so that I could press charges and do it the right way. I've dealt with this for 3 months. Yeah, I'm doing it the right way. I'm not going after anybody's family or anything. But so that's all I want to say about me. I want you to continue about you. So you said that you started feeling compassion or empathy or sympathy for Patrick after he got arrested. Now, was it, you told me why, um and I don't want to put words in your mouth. So just tell me if I'm wrong. You felt like, and you've said this, I'm not saying Patrick's innocent. That's exactly what you've said. I'm not saying he's innocent, but I'm saying this was unfair. So explain that. Explain that, because we haven't quite figured out how you, or the audience hasn't quite figured out how you went from kind of like believing it's, do you believe that Eric's innocent now? Let me ask you that. Do you believe that Eric is innocent now, or do you think, what do you think?
Absolutely not. I do not believe that he is innocent, and I believe that people that were not actually involved inserted themselves in this particular case. It would have been Brian, by sending law enforcement people on their behalf to contact Eric. And I think the water got very muddy. And for me, that is what I just don't feel like that Patrick is getting a fair shake.
So what do you mean by what Brian did? Because I'm unaware of that. What did Brian and only speak what you can speak, and if you can't speak, then you can't speak. Brian called the authorities on who?
No. Brian claims to have had a personal relationship or family connection, I don't know what it is,
Right, I remember.
With a state trooper. And he didn't just tell me this, just so everybody knows. He said it without saying as much on when he was on AD's panel. But AD was not listening and paying attention, and he skipped over what Brian was saying. For whatever reason, Brian had it out for Patrick. Something personal between them. I don't know what the deal was.
Oh, I can say that because Patrick said it. I'll tell you exactly what it is. I believe that it was over a girl, and I believe that they both liked the same woman, and one of them got the woman, and that's what, from my understanding, what happened.
Oh, okay. Well,
and that happens, man. That happens. You know, I mean, that happens.
But to be able, first of all, I think there's an issue when law enforcement is willing to off duty do things involving, you know what I'm saying? Let me just sum it up. And I'm not saying that this is fact. I'm just saying this is from everything that I have gathered. This is what happened. Brian had it
opinion. Guys, this is just an opinion.
In my opinion, allegedly, what happened was this. Brian had it in for Patrick. He gets with his buddy who is in law enforcement, sends him to track down Eric with Patrick's criminal record, which Eric is like waving on the screen afterwards. You know, look at this, look at this. He was acting like he had a Bible. Honey, my criminal record's thicker than that. But my point in all of this is, and let's backtrack just a little bit further too, Toddy, because this is something I don't think a lot of people understand this.
This is why we're doing this.
Yes.
This is why we're doing this.
There is a YouTube channel. People are probably familiar with him. His name is JD, and he has the channel he has a channel and a Facebook page, Creepalacha. Patrick did an interview with him. He was very uncomfortable with the contract terms that was just, you know, when he interviewed Patrick. And he said he felt like this is not, the Whittakers are getting, this is not right. It's not a fair deal. They're getting ripped off. So he didn't even air the interview. He never released it. He took it directly to the West Virginia State Police, the interview, and he said, look, I think y'all need to take a look at this because you got this guy come up here from Georgia and he's brought this contract. And let's be very clear about that. Patrick did not draw up that contract. Eric Carroll is the one that made that contract. He emailed it to Patrick, and I have copies of that.
Please do not show any of that,
No,
even on your
I'm
channel
not.
during this investigation, because it's
I'm
not
not.
going to be.
I'm not. I would never do that.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that I have seen it, and I know when I tell you something, I'm telling you because I have put my eyes on it. Okay.
Mhm.
But I'm just stressing the fact that Eric is the one that drew up the contract. Okay. So Creepalacha goes to the state police, and he's like, dude, you know, there's something fishy going on here, and you guys really need to look into this because I feel like this family's being taken advantage of. Okay. Now, and I point that out because Eric Carroll leads everyone to believe that he went to the police on his own, or he initiated this investigation. No, he did not. And Creepalacha has been so kind to come on to my Facebook page and make comments supporting, you know, when I posted what he had said. I'm like, you know, y'all need to look at this. Eric Carroll did not initiate this investigation. And Creepalacha came in and commented on my Facebook page, and he said, no, ma'am, he did not. He said, I did this, this, and this. And when I did this, this, and this, Eric Carroll had never once gone to the police. I don't believe.
Let me say that I did not know that. This is news to me. I did not know that. So I will be clear to say I am learning this as I'm hearing it now. Go ahead.
So what I think, whatever, I don't know what Brian was hoping to achieve. If I can speculate, and this is merely speculation, I think his intention was to run Eric off, get rid of Eric, so that Patrick's little deal that he was, you know, his thing going on, the channel and stuff would fall apart. Brian wanted the pie, and that's the bottom line of it. He wanted it, and as soon as Eric was gone and Patrick could no longer film and could, you know, when everything came to a standstill,
right.
Brian was like shit on stink getting his ass down there with BJ.
Yeah, no, we all saw that. Let's go back because I interrupted you, but I just wanted to be clear with my audience simply because I've said that Eric went, that Eric, you know, made those phone calls. Well, he'd made the phone calls. We saw that he made the phone calls, but I did not know what you're sharing with me. So, I mean, that's me again having to correct something I said because this is news to me. So what you said was Patrick did an interview with Creepalacha before anything went to shit.
Yes.
And Creepalacha did not put the video out there because he thought better of it, which is fair. And he took that information and brought it to the state police. So he's the one that started the investigation first. And Eric has made claim that he did that, right? In a good way. In a good way. So we're talking about two different things. We're not talking about APS here. We're talking about the
fraud
investigation. And that's important to understand the two different things. We're not talking about the APS things or that even the family got ripped apart per se. We're talking strictly about the fraud charges and
how that came to be, and the exploitation, because there's 5 fraud, 5 exploitation, and 1 use of an access device, and I'm still unclear on exactly what that is. But I can tell you, Creepalacha, when he went, and he has been very public about this, he is very upset that he said, if, you know, 2 birds of a feather, if you both were in it, then you both should be charged. And he's like a lot of people, you know, why is this guy he's slithering on back down to Georgia and nothing's happening to him? And to my knowledge, to date, the money that Eric Carroll has, I know for a fact that Patrick was never paid. Okay. And there was a lot of money, and Patrick was due to get a third of that money. Eric
Right.
Carroll never paid Patrick a penny. And that's something that I offered with Patrick. You need to sue, you know, because you are entitled, just as the Whittakers are entitled, you are entitled. Everybody is so hung up on the fact that Patrick didn't pay this little small percentage from his personal Facebook page. People are neglecting, or they don't understand the fact the Whittaker Facebook page, the Whittaker YouTube page or channel, the TikTok, the whatever social media that Eric Carroll started, that money was not going to Patrick Roark. All of that money was going to Eric Carroll. And
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I
so
think
not only did the Whittakers not get their third, Eric Carroll has never paid Patrick Roark either. But people are so, you know, oh, well, he did the right thing. He did the right thing. How the hell can running off to Georgia with all of the money be the right thing?
exactly. No, I agree with you. But what makes it even more is that he claimed that he started the investigation, and you're saying that's not the case. Creepalachia started the investigation. So it's not even that he started the investigation and he did the right thing, which makes it look like, well, if he started the investigation, then he must be in the right. That's not the case, according to you. According to you, Creepalachia started that investigation.
Creepalachia started the investigation, and Eric Carroll, when he is telling people on public platforms that he initiated that, he is telling a lie, a bold-faced lie.
He has said it over and over again. Yes, he has. That's why I didn't know. You know, I didn't know. And
well, all of that is public. It's on my personal Facebook page. It is on my YouTube channel, and you can go directly to the source where I got it from, which is Creepalachia.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. No, I did not know that. There's a lot of content creators, and I'm not trying to find an excuse. I, of course, know this man's name, and I've seen some of his work, Creepalachia, but I didn't see that. I really didn't see that. So I can't see every video out there, and I did not know that.
Unfortunately, we, just like, you know, I had formed opinions, and I was totally against Patrick. We don't necessarily, and we don't know that we don't have all the information, because I'm sure there's more information out there that I still don't have. But we don't know everything that, you know, and we're forming opinions based on just a little snippet of the information. And I can tell you that when I started talking to Patrick, and this is just me, this is just Susan, okay? I've never been Team Whittaker. I've been very public about that. When I started talking to Patrick, he started like trying to, you know, send me things and tell me things. And I'm like, whoa, dude, back up. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you're guilty. I don't care if you're innocent.
When we say send me things, we don't mean financial things. We don't mean
no. I mean evidence,
information.
Yes, right. He was trying to say, well, let me show you this. Let me show you that. And I'm like, honey, I don't care. I don't care if you're guilty. I don't care if you're innocent. I don't care. I just have got myself involved in this because I don't think you're getting a fair shake here. Now, if they would have arrested Eric and slapped him with the same charges, I probably would have never gotten involved. If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, well, it does only because, you told me last night, you know, let's go ahead and say it because it's only going to make it true. And no offense to Patrick at all. You told him that you got a soft spot for the underdog. And he said, what did he say to that?
He said he did not want to be known or called a underdog.
Right, right,
And I said,
right,
okay, then I won't term it in those terms, but I feel like you're not getting a fair shake.
right, right.
And and Toddy, let me be very clear about this because I'm sure people are going to run and be looking up my history and whatnot. I've been in jail. I've done things that I should not have done. And I have paid my penance for that. I have a son right now that's serving time, but that does not make me, I'm not anti-police, and I do not want to ever present that image because I think law enforcement is very important. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I have never been arrested when I was not doing anything wrong. And even with my son being in jail, he made the choices that he made, and he's going to pay his penance.
Mhm.
You've got to pay the piper. And if they find Patrick guilty, then so be it. He will pay the piper, so to speak.
Right.
But it's not right if two people were doing the exact same thing, and at least 5 of those charges, in my opinion, at least 5 of them, the exploitation, and those should have been put on both people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're
At
not going to find an
minimum.
argument with me. Yeah, I'm not going to find an argument with me at all. There is hope, and I've heard this from, and I don't even want to say this guy's name, but I've heard, and the other person, I don't know that I want to say his name either. I have heard that, or there's rumblings, let's just say that Eric's going to be indicted in May, or that's that, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've heard that. That's
Well,
around the community. There's a couple people that have said that vocally, and I'm I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful
Toddy,
that
I'm glad that you said the word indicted because that's another topic here. Okay,
mm,
I want to be very clear and get this out there to people because I've been screaming it to the people in the back and nobody's listening. Patrick has not been indicted. And I understand that a certain person has been going around saying, well, I promised y'all and I told y'all on such and such date. Patrick was not indicted. He was charged. He was arraigned. Now, will he be indicted? Probably. Most people that get charged do get indicted. It took a year for my indictment to come in
mm,
when I
mm.
was charged. The thing with indictments, and I'm going to repeat to you what my attorney said to me,
Okay.
because I was at the eye doctor's getting eyeglasses a year after, I had made bond. And I have people calling me, oh my God, you're on the news. They've got you on Atlanta news. They're showing your mugshot and they're saying you've been indicted. So I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Let me call my lawyer. So I called my lawyer and he was like, oh, he said, let me tell you. He said, I'm not going to tell you it's not important. He said, but think of it in these terms. He said 90% of the cases that go before a grand jury get indicted because he said all the grand jury is hearing is the prosecution. There is no defense there. So, yeah, pretty much everybody gets indicted. But that narrative has been being run with that, oh, Patrick got indicted. He has not been indicted yet.
He's been charged.
And he's been charged. And what I keep saying to people, and they really need to focus on this, a charge is not a conviction. And
Well,
it's
why don't
never
you do what
over.
So I want you to please, because you said yourself you've been through this. What's a charge? What's indictment? To those people, excuse me, that don't know, please let them know, because I'm sure there's people that don't know.
Now, I can't say in Patrick's case, but I can tell you from my case, I was charged. And when I was charged, I got like the charges were just outrageous. Okay. Um, and it went before a grand jury to go to the next step. I guess is the grand jury is the next step to go forward for a trial or a plea bargain or whatever. And when my case went to the grand jury, a lot of those charges that I was originally charged with, they fell off because
Right.
they did not meet the standards. So basically, you can get and I'm not saying that that was the case in my case or that was the case in Patrick's case, but
Right.
sometimes you get a DA that might be a little bit overzealous and they just go crazy with the charge sheet.
Because they want to make sure something sticks. I'm sure that's the purpose.
Yeah, so it's like the bigger the net they can throw out there, the better the catch when they pull it back in. But there is a difference, and the charges could change between now and the indictment. And I mean, charges could be added, charges could be taken away. So,
right, I understand that. So I'm going to go ahead and read the definition. So let me, because I just want to be clear with stuff. So indictment, a formal charge or accusation of a serious crime. That's an indictment. That's what it says here.
okay.
So that kind of can fall under that kind of can fall under what that person said. According to this, a formal written statement prepared by a prosecuting authority charging a person with the crime and returned by a journey. Now that's different than what I just read, right? What I just read at the beginning was a little bit more vague. It was accusation of it. Here is exactly basically what you said, which is the prosecution of the charges. So it's like you get charged and you might have all these charges because they want something to stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. And they're valid charges per se, but they're not as important as maybe the main charge, but they're kind of hoping something's going to stick to the wall here. So then you go and you're indicted on what they're going to be charging you for. Is that would you say that that's the difference?
Once it's presented to the grand jury and the evidence is presented, then the grand jury says, okay, you have enough for this or you have enough for that, and some can fall off, or the DA might add something between now and then. So it's like you said, it's a formalization of what you were arrested for to begin with. It's like the next process.
The next step. Yep, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that now. Okay, cool. So continue on. I'm sorry. I just wanted to be clear about the difference between charging and indictment. I know that people were running with that he got charged. I put out a video that he had gotten, charged, obviously. So I understand that. So the thing that brought you to Patrick was just recently, because the charges came just recently. They were just last month in January, right?
Yes.
And Eric didn't get charged, and Eric is kind of walking around a little bit acting like he's not going to get charged. And yeah, that doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair to me either. I totally agree with you.
and I know that you and I don't agree on this point, but um, 5 of the charges that Patrick is facing are based solely on the fact that Betty and Larry Whittaker gave a statement saying that they never received anything from Patrick. And I have an issue with that. Number one, I don't think that they're good witnesses because they have a history of scamming and frauding people. And just because they're not, that they've never been charged for things, don't mean that they haven't done it. And, you know, if people look back, you know, we see a pattern of this with Mark Lay, I can't pronounce his last name, but with Mark
from
from
Soft White
Soft.
Underbelly.
Yeah, they did this to him to the point that he had finally just had enough and he had to walk away from them. And they kind of sort of did it with that Tyler guy because they were telling Tyler that Mark hadn't given him any money. And thank God Mark could rebuttal that because he gave them like $25,000 in cash and gifts, like when he would take them shopping and stuff.
Right.
So there's money that he can't hand a receipt for.
Right.
But he was able to, and I have that, and he gave me permission to share that because I am working on a video. I've just not been focused on it.
Yeah, but that's an exclusive. What you shared anyway. We're going to talk about that, not your video. But please continue on with what you're saying.
Mark did a video, his last video, and he went through on the screen deposit after deposit after deposit. And I mean, Toddy, we're talking thousands of dollars.
I've seen that video, and you guys, Soft White Underbelly, he's sitting in a room by himself on a chair, yes, going over the whole GoFundMe. Absolutely.
Every 2 to 3 weeks, they were having this emergency or that emergency or whatever. And then the reason that Mark did that video is because they had drained the money dry. There was no more money. Okay. So when they weren't getting any more money from Mark, they accepted this Tyler guy to come in because, in my opinion, I think BJ was like, here, you know, we got to get something coming in from somewhere else. I can't see Larry and Betty looking for that. And I may be wrong, but Tyler comes in and they're not going to tell Tyler, oh yeah, you know, he's been giving us tens and thousands up to 153,000 that's been being sent to Betty's bank account. No, they tell Tyler what money. Mark hasn't given us any money. So when I see a criminal complaint that says that Betty and Larry Whittaker have signed statements saying that Patrick never gave them anything, I have a problem with that. And I think that if the DA, if he's done his homework properly, he should have a problem with that.
Okay, so I just want to say something because yeah, you and I are on opposite than this, but I think it's fair that I'm giving you the platform. You have the right to say that. I don't see them. I saw the video, and yes, they were given $153,000. I saw the video where Tyler asked them, and I saw them say no. I saw the video where Larry died. I've seen all of that. So I have seen that. I don't know what Larry's capable of. I don't know what Betty's capable of. But I disagree with at least half of that when it comes to Betty, because I just can't. I'm not saying it's impossible, I just don't agree with with I mean, I believe what you're saying, that Patrick has said that they had signed that and stuff, saying that against him. And I can't touch that because I don't know that, but I can totally understand. And I think it's fair to say, Toddy, you have to be a little skeptical because we've already seen the behavior in that. And I think that's fair to say as well. So I don't have a problem with that. You know, I don't agree. I guess I could say I don't agree to the extent. Here's my issue. Anything Betty would have learned would have come to her porch, because she didn't go out and learn anything. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's a diabolical thing to do, and I just don't see her capable of it. I don't know about Larry, so I can't speak about that. I know that he's been out in the world and such. So I don't know. I could be wrong. This is a feeling. This isn't what I know or don't know. This is just a feeling. And obviously I've been wrong before about feelings, but that's just where I stand with it. But
Well, with the situation with Betty, I believe, it's just my opinion from what I've seen, I believe that Betty is manipulated. She's either, and people get mad at me when I say this, but she's either too stupid or too scared to do any different than she's being told to do. And I believe that when Tyler was brought there, that Betty was, this is what you say to him. You know, I don't think Betty is intelligent enough to run a scam on people.
Right. I don't think that either. Absolutely. I don't think that either. I don't think that either. I agree with you. I agree 1,000,000% with you. Yes. So, but you said, I want you to go to Mark later, because that's an important thing to say. And, because I have heard from Mark Leda, and, when I was doing videos a couple years ago on the Whittakers. And do you want to talk about the email you got from Mark Leda? I know you're going to put it on your channel, but I think if anything, it kind of, it helps your case, if anything else, you know what I'm saying? So
I wanted, and I'm working on this. I've just not been as diligent as I should have done. I should have already had it finished. I want to present just like what I just said to you, but I didn't want to do snips and snips and snips. So I wanted to show you, like, paint the entire picture so people could follow this story, and then bring you up to the point to where, bam, now they're doing the same thing.
When she says you, she means us, not me, Toddy One Skip. She means you, the public.
The viewers. I wanted to take the viewers from when Mark started with them, and each thing that they scammed him or lied to him on through Tyler, then Eric and Patrick, and then to the point that, you know, here is a man that's getting arrested. And when I contacted Mark, I pretty much laid out in my email what I wanted to do. I said, look, my friend Patrick has been arrested for fraud, and I feel like he's getting a bad deal. And I want to use your history with the Whittakers to present my case. And I immediately, and I thought I laid the email out pretty thoroughly. You know, I went over it and over it before I sent it. And as soon as I sent it, I immediately got a response back that said, Mark does not allow people to use his content. And that, I mean, end of sentence. And it was not from Mark. And I'm sitting there going over the email. I told you about this, thinking, okay, maybe I didn't word it correctly, thinking, how could I do this different? Because I really want to use like large segments of his content. and I wanted his permission. Toddy, before I could even like send another email to him, I received a email from him, and it was directly from Mark. Apparently, he read what I had written, and I mean, I was very blatant, you know, what my point, what I'm trying to show. And he sent me an email back, and I have it, and I might include it in with my video when I make it. Susan, use anything you need. Sincerely, Mark. So that
I
tells
would show
me,
that. I would certainly show that video. I would show that in your video. I would definitely show that because of
and,
what it shows you.
and I think that people need to realize that when they are making these little clips and using all of Mark's content, you're setting yourself up to get your channel struck, because he does not allow that.
Yeah, but what does it say to you that
It
Mark
says
told you
to
to go ahead?
me, my impression, the fact that he gave me permission to use whatever I needed, is that he is done, and he's willing to allow me to use his content to defend somebody else that's getting slapped with the same accusations that got put on him. His just never went to the point of being with the legal process. Mark kind of got tried out in the public, and he was able to, you know, show proof. And I think that may be some of Patrick's problems, things that he did for them. He might not have every receipt. And I'm not going to sit here and try to convince people that every dime he got that he gave to them, because I don't know that.
Right.
But I'm just saying that there is enough history there that people really should step back and say, you know, we've done this how many times previously?
Mm-hmm. I
But
understand what you're saying.
on this occasion, because we don't like this man, we're willing to accept that everything they're saying is true. And I just don't buy it.
Right. That's fair. I understand that. That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
And I think that's pretty much, I mean, to the end of it until I do make the video. And I have started working on it. Initially I was going to do it as a live, and then I thought better of that, and I'm just going to do it as a video. That way, if I don't get it right, I can go back and edit and fix it. Because when I put it out there, I want it to be the best that I can put out, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course. Of course. I mean, that's what most content creators are trying to do, is do the best of their ability. And also, when you do live streams, there's a lot of distractions. And if you want to get a point across, you know, this is I think the best way to do it, because we could have done a live stream, but we wouldn't have gotten out half of the information that, you know, you had bullet points for. And then as I had some bullet points too, as well. So they were important to achieve. Not only that, but it gives people a chance to, it's easier to follow when you're not reading comments or chat comments that set you off in one direction, and when you're trying to stay focused on something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think there's a time and a place to do a live stream and a chat. That's more to me like a Q&A kind of thing.
An engagement with
Yeah.
your where they can ask questions, right? And you could respond, or you want opinions on something, so you might ask them questions. It's an engagement between you and your subscribers. So, and that's not what this was. This was you had an agenda, and I don't mean that as a bad word, to get your point across to how you went from supporting Eric to supporting Patrick. And you also wanted to make sure that everybody knew you were not paying anybody to create a narrative for anything. And you also wanted to talk about character and how people behave when they're in front and on somebody's panel, and how they behave when that person can no longer get on the channel, or maybe has chosen not to be on the channel. And then I had my own thing about, hey, I've been bullied, dot, 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 dot. And then how we got from, how we found out who one of the content creators were for sure. And then how we kind of verified that by, why would that person go somewhere if the name is wrong? And the thing about Creepalacha, I did not know that. If I heard it, it didn't stick. And then something else you wanted to bring out, which is also important, that you had heard something, and this is what made you say, wow, I don't think Patrick's having a fair shot here, is you had heard Brian Cody slip up and say something, and then you heard the other guy kind of say the same thing at a totally different time, and you connected the dots and said there's something wrong here. And I feel like Patrick is not getting a fair deal. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. We've covered a lot, haven't we?
We've covered a lot. We've been on for over 2 hours. Is there
Wow.
anything, and I think that, and I know that I always get, why do you butt in? Because believe it or not, people ask me to keep them on track, number one. And two, if I'm losing you, I think that other people are losing you. So, like when I said, she's not talking to me, she's saying you in general, because you were talking to me, and then all of a sudden you said you, and I'm like, yeah, she's talking in general, but that's not clear here. So, and that's, why you have a host and you have a guest, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I
So
appreciate you trying to keep me on track, because I tend to get down, I'm going down the road, but I may bear off to the left or to the right. And sometimes you get lost in what your thoughts go from one thing to the next. I have a hard time staying on track. So,
well, you had a lot you wanted to say, and I knew the bullet points you wanted to hit. I wanted to make sure that you hit them, because that was the purpose that you were coming on here for. So I have a question. Why the Pink Panther?
well, why a Avatar at all, or why Pink Panther?
Why Pink Panther? I get the Avatar, but I mean, why Pink Panther?
Pink Panther, because it was one of my favorite cartoons as a child, and but being that I'm female, I had to
Put a bow in its
switch it
hair.
up. Yeah, I had to switch her up a little bit. So,
Mm-hmm. Cool.
and I just love the theme song, the music.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did you ever see any of the movies?
Yeah.
Did you ever?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
huge like movie buff, and I'm especially into like British stuff.
Right.
I'll have to show you. I'll take a picture sometime and send it to you. I wouldn't want the public to see this, but I have a massive like DVD collection, and my daughter and I go round and round about this. She says I've become a hoarder, and I said I don't think I'm a hoarder. I just collect things. I collect too many things. So
I think a lot of hoarders would say that, in all fairness to your daughter, though. If you ask any hoarder, they would say, I collect that, I need that. So, but I am not somebody that can decide if somebody's a hoarder or not. But I'm into British, obviously I'm into British television and movies as well. So Peter Sellers was the Pink Panther back
he
in
was
the day.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a very talented actor. He was. Is there anything else that you want to bring to the attention here while we're here?
Well, I would like to say before we close out that I feel like, I don't know how you feel at this point, but I feel like I may have made a new acquaintance, a new friend out of all of this. And it was not something that I was expecting by any means. As a matter of fact, I had told Patrick, I said, well, you know, I don't really like her. And I'm sure you probably felt the same way about me. But a lot of people think that I'm this mean person because I say what I say and I try to mean what I say. I don't
Right.
I don't sugarcoat things. I've been told by coworkers before that I am to the point that I'm brutally honest. That I'm sometimes I just say too much. But
Yeah. I've been accused of the same thing. Surprise. So I get that. And I wouldn't say that I didn't like it. I didn't know you to like you or dislike you. I didn't like the actions. And but everybody's able to, do what they want to do. I know that you and I guess I want to say I guess where we bumped heads and we talked about this was that um you had put up the I guess the GoFundMe, and you really thought that I had done something about that. And on my life, on my pet's life, I never did anything. I never said anything other than what I put on the channel. I never reached out to GoFundMe, nothing like that. And I did say that was disgusting to do that. And listen, I can understand with helping people and doing that. Um, except in the situation that kind of like, let me put it this way, kind of like, how you looked at Eric and you said, how come he doesn't have anything against him? Patrick's got all this. I kind of looked at that the same way. How come people are going to help him? The Whittakers don't have anything like this. So it was just the same thing. It was just different. And that's where you and I just disagree because you have your own feelings about the Whittakers. And listen, you might know something that I don't know, right? You might know something that I don't know. But that's something that we're just going to agree to disagree on. I'm not going to have a fight over things that people agree or disagree on as far as that goes. It's about the way I think it's handled. We can agree to disagree. It doesn't have to turn into a big long argument or 25 videos or this or that. It doesn't. We can agree to disagree. You know what I mean? And I've said that I found Patrick to be charming, and I've never taken that back as far as that goes with Patrick. I don't want him to be charged for something he didn't do, and I certainly don't want I certainly don't want Eric to run free if he did do something. So it's in my opinion that they both did things wrong, but I'm not the law. You know what I mean? And that's not my job. And let's talk about that. Okay? I think it's fair to talk about that. There was, in my opinion, a witch hunt. And nobody has the right to do that. Nobody has the right to do that. And some of the words that were used about Patrick are words that they come with a stink that you can't get away from. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say again, there was several women that reached out and had told me that they'd given Patrick money or they had loaned Patrick money. None of those women, and I wrote to them because I put that video up and I wanted them to know, listen, I'm not betraying you or anything, but this I don't think is fair. Like, he's already got charges against them. Let the police do their job. Don't add more shit because the guy's down. It's kind of like, don't beat him up on that other content creator's channel because he's not coming on your channel anymore. Like, you know, I just found that to be disgusting, and that's not fair. It you know, there's certain words that shouldn't be used, and none of the women that loaned him money or gave him money said to me, yeah, he G'd me. None of them.
Well, first of all,
also, let me say this, and none of them said, actually, they said, he's in enough trouble, I'm not going to the police. That's the truth.
well, I have not spoken with any of these people individually. I just know what was posted over on the rabbits thing, and that's what led me to put out a bounty for her identity, because I felt like that is criminal. It's slanderous, and it to me, it's just intolerable to do that. And I'm actually surprised that Facebook has not shut that down yet. But in regards to the so-called victims that she's trying to round up, I'd like to say this. If someone loaned you money and you had a formal agreement about repayment, then by all means, go to the police. If somebody has ripped you off, then go get your money back. If you chose, and that's why I wanted to be very, very clear about my situation with helping AD. If you choose upon your own free will to help somebody, just because you have an agenda and you don't get what you think you were going to get out of it, and I'm not going to get into the ugly details of the things that have been said, but it's no different if a man was like helping out a woman and he thinks he's going to get something out of it. If
Right.
you went into that, if you were trying to manipulate, let's just put it out there like it is. If you thought that you were going to get something from Patrick romance-wise by giving him money, by doing this for him or doing that for him, and things didn't turn out, or maybe you met him, because I've even heard stories of somebody that supposedly flew to West Virginia. Maybe things didn't work out. Well, you know what? That's sad, and I'm sorry if you got your feelings hurt or if your heart got broken, but it's not criminal. And this is a case of buyer beware. And that's why I say, I told you someone emailed me, I really felt like the person was fishing for information. I felt like they were wanting me to like say bad things about AD.
Right.
And I responded to them. They said something to the fact that they had donated and they were on fixed income or whatever. And the first thing in my email back to them was, if you are on a limited income, you're on a fixed income, you should never, ever feel like you have to donate to anybody. People need to take care of themselves. And I understand that, content creators, they get super chats, they get donations, they get, and it helps, especially with people that are doing this as a full-time job, because it's a job. But for people, if you're in your right mind and you're sitting at home and you say, oh, well, I kind of like her, I think I'm going to send her $50, or, well, when I don't chit chat with you or agree to meet you for lunch or go to bed with you, don't come back saying Well, she cheated me out of $50. I didn't cheat you out of anything. You chose to give it to me. And I think I, I don't know all of the details, and they don't seem to be wanting to share those with me, even though I have been in conversation with that content creator in an attempt to get her to remove that post.
Mhm.
I don't know the ins and outs and the details, but I just have a feeling that it's kind of like the women scorn thing. And
Mhm.
it's not right. You shouldn't do that.
Right.
And if you freely give somebody something and you're expecting something back, I'll tell you what I told the guy. I think it's a guy. It may be a woman, because it's one of those names that could be either or. In the email that contacted me about AD, I said, all I can tell you is this. When I gave and I supported to AD for his channel, for him, I gave with a pure heart. If he was scamming me, then that's on him. That
Right.
doesn't lie with me. And if these people if they're giving because they're trying to manipulate or they're expecting something back, then that's on them, because they were not giving with a pure heart.
Right.
Does that make sense what
No,
I'm saying?
I understand 1000%. If somebody gave somebody something, then that's a gift. I don't care how it ends up, that's a gift. If somebody borrowed something and they weren't paid back, then yes, go after them. If they broke their promise of paying back, because that's a verbal contract, then go after them. If you're willing to take it as a loss and say, okay, that's a learning lesson, I have to learn that. It's sad. It's sad to be taken from anybody, but it's not criminal unless they broke their word in paying back. And I just want to give benefit of the doubt to um digging deeper down the rabbit hole in this way. Now, because I get emails from people, I'm going to just assume that somebody wrote to them and said, um this is what happened to me, this is, and maybe it was somebody that they were supposed to pay back, or they were supposed to, the money was supposed to go to Timmy, and they said that for some reason they said it didn't go to Timmy, we know it didn't go to Timmy, whatever. I understand getting those emails and such, but here's where I have a problem with it. As content creators, we're not tip lines. We shouldn't take information that can be criminal and talk to people, because one, you're going to mess up an investigation, because the first thing somebody's going to go, does anybody talk to you about this? Yes, actually somebody did talk to me about this, and because they wanted to make sure that I knew what to say. Well, right then and there, even if you're trying to just be legitimate, right then and there, that's tainting that situation right away. In my opinion, is this is Detective Gilkerson's number, that's who you have to contact. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think should be done, not that there should be anybody with any kind of anything or anything like this, and especially the G word, which I would hope they'd take down. That's a witch hunt. There's a difference. He's in trouble. There's a way to go about things, and it's not to get the information and then put it together. You know what I'm saying?
If somebody come to me, excuse me, if they came to me and they were telling me this story of how they were manipulated and this guy took money from them and da 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 da, for me to sit and say, okay, come on, honey, cry on my shoulder, and let me see, if I can help you through this. That's one thing, Toddy. But to bring it and put it out on social media and say, look, I heard such and such happened to so and I want to know, did it happen to you too? Contact me. You know, we were trying to get all this information together, and they have changed that post somewhat, but it is still, the way it's worded is still, in my opinion, slander. It's criminal, and I'm not going to stop until it's taken down. And I was accused earlier. What is it? We're still in today. Okay. Earlier today of that I was the one committing a crime. And I said, let me explain myself to you. I've made no threats. I didn't even mention your channel's name. I just put a picture of a rabbit, and everybody knows. I don't care who you are. I actually know who it is now, which is beside the point. But I said, I don't care who you are. I don't care about the address of your little double wide trailer. I don't care about you personally. I care about what you're doing. And I was only seeking out your identity so criminal charges can be filed and you can be held accountable for what you are doing to this man. And they were like, well, it's not slander. And I said, and you correct me if I'm wrong on this, Toddy, until a charge has been filed and the man has been convicted, what you're getting on here saying is slander.
It would
You
have to
cannot-
say allege. Yeah, you'd have to say allege, or in my opinion, of course. You'd have to say that. Yes.
And it's just not right. And I can't imagine if, you know, I don't know if Patrick's mother gets on social media, but if I got on social media and I saw something like that about my son, I mean, it sent me through the roof when I saw it about Patrick, because it's not right. And it is nothing more than what you said. It's a witch hunt. They're trying to get together a group of people, and I don't know. And I keep asking Patrick, I said, are you sure? Are you sure that you have never dated this girl? Because she is after you. Either someone very close to her or her herself. There is some, you know what I'm saying? You
It's
don't
too
go after.
personal. It's too
Yeah,
personal, is what you're
very
saying.
personal.
Mhm.
So I hope that they stop playing games with people's lives and come to understand that this is not the way you do things. If you want to cry on somebody's shoulder and listen to them, I'm not saying don't be compassionate to people, because we all need that at some point in time,
Mhm.
whether it's over a breakup, a man, or, you know, whatever. But you don't turn that into, well, let's see how many other people he did this to. You don't do that. If you want to console somebody or listen to them and say, look, you know, I think what was done to you, you know, this might be a crime. So maybe you need to go talk to the police. Now,
Right.
in my opinion, that is the appropriate way that should have been handled. But I
No, I
don't
agree.
think,
I agree with that.
I get the impression that we're not, even though they may be legal in age, they don't seem very mature. There was a video posted with a made tattoo on an arm, and I clipped that and put it on my page on Facebook, and it spells out, Susan is a cunt. They didn't want to say it, you know, didn't want to say it out loud on the screen, so they wrote it on their arm like it was a tattoo.
Right.
And so, you know, I just clipped it and I attached the song. I think it's Destiny's Child. Say my name, say my name, say my name to it. And I said, this shows your level of maturity. You're childish to even do that. To draw a tattoo on your arm is just, I think we're probably looking at women in their 20s, which, if Patrick is
Well,
dating.
wait a minute. Now I'm going to say this. I'm going to piss people off. I know that that female content creator who's not in her 20s has called me a hairy C-U-N-T. Now, how would she know that? How would she know how hairy I am? I just want to know that. But she's called me that. People have shown me that. So I know that I was called that. So I don't know. Like, that's a word that I haven't used, and that just shows me how, how trashy people are, if I'm honest with you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's amazing to me how somebody could be so explicit about mine. You were just called that word. I was called a hairy one of those. Just wanted to know how that came about.
Well, I don't know how they would know, but I pay a lot of money for electrolysis because I don't like hair. So maybe they have some knowledge that I wasn't aware that they knew about.
Yeah,
Because
I'm trying. Yeah.
mine's not hairy.
But it's a horrible word to be called. For what reason? I mean, for what reason? Because of a disagreement? Anyway.
And what, I don't know what purpose that they thought that was going to serve
And
to
also,
draw
please,
flowers and.
yeah, but also, I mean, in proving that as well, and saying they don't have to be 20, because the person that said that clearly is
Oh,
not 20. You know what I'm saying? The person that said that about me clearly was not 20 years old. So I'm not
it
sure
may
what's going
just
on.
be a certain sector of the
Yeah,
population
yeah,
that uses
yeah,
those terms. Yeah.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, I wouldn't just go with the fact that maybe they're so young. It just might be that that's just the way that they are. But so I agree with that, and I agree with pointing in the direction of, listen, if this is a crime, it's that. But also, when you do that, in my opinion, when you put that stuff up there and you say, anybody with any kind of basically accusations. I mean, I know that they're looking for proof and stuff like that, but with AI and everything, and with the fact that Patrick has a lot of haters, that's where the problem comes in. Because what you're doing is you're opening up a door for everybody, and it doesn't mean that everybody's going to tell the truth. So, like, why do that? You see what I'm saying? But it's a witch hunt because it opens up the door for everybody with any kind of hate. That might not be the same people that go to the police. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I could say this. I would hope that if they continue to push this, and if women choose to go to the police, I really sincerely hope that they can back up what they're saying.
Well, that's what I'm
Because
saying. That's what I'm saying is people will go to a content creator with bullshit where that will mess things up, that taints things, it murkies the water, where that same person would not go to the police with that same proof. You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm saying, AI and manipulations, Patrick's got a lot of haters. You've now opened up the door to pretend that you might be a person that Patrick had taken advantage of or anything like that. You might not be, but you might hate him so much that here you've got a friend joining in, and in the meantime, you don't have the critical thinking or the ability. I'll take the critical thinking away. You don't have the ability to say that's true, that's not true. That's the police. That's why I'm saying, if you go to the police, usually you're not going to go with a bunch of bullshit. You're going to go with actual proof, not made up proof, not AI proof, but actual proof. Because when you're going to the police, you're going to be held accountable more so than a content creator is going to hold you accountable. Do you see what I'm saying?
exactly. And the bottom line, and I put this in a post earlier, or actually I think I put it early this morning. Um, I specifically said to her, you do not have the authority to be doing what you're doing. You are not law enforcement.
Exactly.
And what
That's
you're
the
doing
point.
is wrong.
Right. What they
So,
could have done, what they could have done is, what they could have done is said, listen, I have had anybody, and they've done this before. I'm not saying that digging down the rabbit hole did it before, but I know that a while ago I saw anybody, and I think it was the West Virginia State Police that put it out, right? Anybody that's had any kind of dealings with uh this or that or anything else come to the police. So that was good enough, right? So I understand you want to go put that up again. You could grab that, put it back up. You know what I mean? It was personal. This field very icky and personal. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it goes back to, yeah, did they have any kind of affiliation with Patrick where they got their feelings hurt?
yeah, and I think when this all boils down, that's what it's going to end up being. You know, and if there is someone, if he borrowed money from someone, he should pay them back.
Right.
But social media, again, is not the place to be putting that out there. You're not going to get your money back on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why? You're wasting your time. If somebody owes you money and you can prove that they owe you money and that they agreed to pay you back, go to the police. You're not going to get
Exactly.
any
I
money
agree.
from social media. It's
Yeah.
just,
No, I agree with that. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
well, I don't know about you, honey, but I'm about ready for a fudge sickle.
I'm about ready to go to sleep, but I'm gonna put the video up. I'm gonna put the video up. Do you need me to change anything? Do you want to add anything? Are you
No,
okay with me putting this up
no,
as it is? The only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just fix the last name of that content creator because it's clearly here. So
it's
I'm just
here
gonna
where.
block it. It's clearly on that thing that I showed you.
Oh, on the
on,
sticker. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna block out the last name of the content creator because I don't want to be accused of doxing.
Oh, yeah. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
All right, dear. I guess I will talk to you when I talk to you, and I think it's fine. Just put it out like it is because it's organic. We just two old women or two old C's having a conversation.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the channel and trusting me. I appreciate that.
All right, Toddy. I'll talk to you later, honey.
All right,
Get some
take care,
sleep.
Susan. I will. Be well. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bing boing bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddy One Skip.